See what?
All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this is a regular meeting of the Commissioners Court of Kaufman County. Today is Monday, September the 12th, 2016. We're pleased that you are here with us today. If you are on the agenda, you will not need to complete a form, but if you wish to speak to an item that is on the agenda, and there's a form that you can fill out that's on the table over there, and so you can do that and give that to our county clerk, and we will let you address the court during that time. So thank you for being here. We'll begin this morning with our invocation, and I've asked Commissioner Shane to do that, and then we'll have allegiances to both the flags. So if you'll stand.
We pray with me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we just come to you today and first thank you for having blessed us so richly each day. Today we will come and lift up to you the 9/11 tragedy that we had in our nation. We just thank you so much for our first responders and all the people that was impacted by this tragedy. We just ask you to bless our first responders and our officers that protect our society each day. We just ask you to send them home safely each day. Also today we will ask you to be with our court as we do our county's business, that you look on it and honor it. These things we ask in your son's name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, thank you very much for that, and we'll move right into the agenda. Do we have anyone just using to turn in a form? Okay. In the way of routine correspondence, I don't really have anything. I do have an announcement before we get into the agenda on item number 9, where it talks about Judge Smith making a presentation. He has indicated he wants that to be withdrawn from the agenda, so we'll just mark that out. We will not be discussing it at this point, at this meeting. So, and then the first thing we need to do, this is the second hearing we have on our proposed tax rate for this coming tax year, budget year, and I would entertain a motion to exit the regular meeting and enter into a public hearing. Mr. Shane makes that motion.
Second.
Mr. Bonick seconds the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right, now we'll enter into a public hearing, and on the table when you walked in, there is a tax rate information for our new tax rate. This is the second hearing we've had, and let me just briefly go over that. Anybody that wishes to come to the podium and speak, you're certainly welcome to do so. You'll see that during the 2015 tax year, we've done a comparison just so you can see. And our two main funds are our maintenance and operation funds. And you can see what the amount was for 2015 and 2016, proposed for 2016. And you'll notice that the total there, or the subtotal, is the same 0.5265 cents for both years. So our two basic, our two main operating funds do not change. The interest and sinking fund, or what is also the bond repayment fund, does change, and that is a result of the selling of the remaining $26 million worth of transportation bonds that we did back earlier or last month actually. And I believe those funds are to be received around September the 22nd, so they will be due the additional, and these were voted on by the public back in 2013 in November. And so you will see that that did change from .0497 cents to a proposed .0622 cents. So that does cause the overall tax rate, if you'll notice at the very bottom, to go up from .5762 cents to .5887, which is a 1.25 cent, not per cent, but a 1.25 cent increase in next year's tax rate. But it's strictly for the bonded transportation debt. Do we have anybody that has any questions concerning the proposed tax rate for next year? Anybody have any questions about this item? And finally, do we have anybody that has any questions or would like to discuss this? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to exit the public hearing. Motion. Commissioner makes that motion. We have a second. Commissioner Rosales seconds the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Okay, thank you very much. We will, just so you know, this next Monday, we will be having a special meeting of the court to officially adopt the tax rate that we just discussed, .5887. So that will be next September the 19th, one week from today. And that's also the same date that we will officially be adopting our budget as well. And so that'll be a special meeting of the court. There's really nothing to consider. That's just an information piece. So just as we've met all the requirements as far as the publication and the announcement, so that's just a reminder to everybody. So we'll move right on into the into the consent agenda. We have a number of items there. Item number A is to accept the minutes for the workshop meetings on July the 18th, 2016, the regular meeting for July the 25th, the regular meeting on August the 8th, special meeting on August the 8th, a special meeting on August the 12th, and a special workshop meeting for August 15th, 2016. We also have item B to discuss and consider approving deputation of Kay Bingham for the county clerk's office. Item C is to, and I do have one that we will need to remove, and I'll mention that just in a second on item C, to discuss and consider deputation of Robert Siegman, James A. Hohenberger, Mark Faulkner, William C. Kennedy, and then the last one, Jeremiah Banks. If you will mark through that one will not, has not met the requirements for the deputation. So remember that in the motion. Item D is to discuss and consider a proclamation designating September as the National Preparedness Month in Kaufman County. And item E is to discuss and consider appointing Tiffany Badon as the sick leave pool administrator to replace Lori Floyd. Item F is to discuss and consider approving a request from the Gastonia Scurry Special Utility District to install over 13,000 feet of water line along County Road 4077, Dickey Lane, County Road 4081, and Adams Street in Kaufman County, precinct number 4. And I believe, Commissioner Allen, you have a big map if anybody's interested in looking at the engineering on that. And then item G is to discuss and consider approving an agreement with the Texas Department of Agriculture for a Community Development Fund grant, contract number 7216250 for the Able Springs Able Springs Special Utility District. And we are the fiscal agent for the various water corporations that are not in an incorporated area. And so this is part of the process that goes through. We did the same thing for Elmo, and I believe this may be the second one we've done for Able Springs, I believe as well. So, Steve, on your item, you had a very successful emergency operation, I believe, Saturday out at the Tanger Mall. I happened to drop by and got a piece of candy. That's about all I got. I got a bottle of water, but it was a well-attended meeting. You care to say anything about that?
Well, we were very happy. We had a lot of people show up. as exhibitors despite the potential weather. And we figured we came somewhere around 250 citizens came out to see the event. So we were very pleased, and I want to commend Melissa Smith in my office for doing such a good job putting it together.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions about any item on the consent agenda?
The only question I got is on the water line. This piece of paper from the consulting engineers said that the water line would be on private property. So is that more than 30 foot from the center line of the county road?
I don't know exactly.
It's all owned by someone in the center of the road. So I know in my precinct I have issues with some water lines that were put right next to the road in some instances instead of 30 foot from the center.
We can make sure that's done.
I would suggest that for the future.
Let them know when they come out to a fever, but
Yeah, for future development of the road expansion, I think it's very important to maintain our 60 foot without utilities and crossings. Other than that.
And we do need to remove the number in the motion to approve not to approve Jeremiah Banks. So
I'll make that motion to accept the consent agenda with the exception of item C, remove Jeremiah Banks for approval.
okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Allen. Do we have a second? Commissioner Phillips seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Motion passes. All right, this morning we are pleased to have Chris Miller with us today. Mr. Miller is the Executive Director of the NEF-RMA, and he has a presentation from his NEF-RMA, Northeast Texas Regional Mobility Authority, and give an update on the Toll 49 project there and discuss the new priority project system. And as you will recall probably, Robert Messer is our official representative on the commission. I think he's also the treasurer of the commission now. So thanks and welcome to Kaufman County.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and
You've been on the job about 6 months now.
a little bit less than that.
Okay.
I started in the end of June,
Okay.
and so, but I do appreciate the opportunity, and I have obviously had the opportunity to meet with Judge Wood and Mr. Messer, who is our treasurer and is doing a fabulous job for us, so we appreciate the appointment. What we're trying to do is keep ourselves out there and certainly let everybody know what the Northeast Texas Regional Mobility Authority does and can do for counties. I've got a little handout here that we can follow along. Some of the things we don't need to necessarily get into all the intricate details of some of the statistics, but I think on the second page you'll see that we are a 12-county member organization. Kaufman County, of course, being one of them. You are a far western county, I guess, if you will. And as you can see on the map, we go all the way. Our most eastern counties are Harrison and Panola, which are on the state line with Louisiana. But we have Kaufman County, Van Zandt, Wood County, Smith County, Cherokee, Rusk, Panola, Harrison, Upshur, Titus, and Bowie. Bowie is our way out in the northeast. We have a meeting actually there tomorrow, our regular monthly board meeting, and so we'll be traveling up there. As you can see, we have 19 board members, and our chair is Linda Thomas, who is from Gregg County, and the organization is set up in a way that the chair is appointed by the governor, and then all the other board members are appointed by the county. So as Judge Wood indicated, Mr. Messer is our representative from Kaufman County and serves as our treasurer and is doing a fabulous job for us. We hold board meetings usually once a month. Sometimes it might slip to every 2 months, but it is normally every month, and we rotate it according to the county. So I don't know what the rotation is for Kaufman County, but we'll be coming sometime in the next year. So we work with 3 different tech stop districts. The Mesquite District, the Tyler District, and it's called the Atlanta, Texas District, and so we get around. We do metropolitan planning organizations as well. There are 4 of them in our jurisdiction that we work with. What is the net RMA, other than toll 49, which if you've had the opportunity, we are in the, I guess you would call it about 2 months into phase 4, or segment 4 as you call it, which I think I have a map in here that's known as the Lindale Relief Route, which is going to go I-20 north around the community of Lindale and take in all the northern areas. And so that's going to add significantly to the use of the toll road. But net RMA, the authority is it's set up by, it's an independent government entity. It was set up, back in the early 2000s by the state, created by state law. And it has the ability to do toll authorities, to operate toll authorities, but it also has the opportunity to do transportation projects, finance transportation projects. We can get into things, actually, as you see on the bottom of page 2, you can see that we for transportation facilities and services, we have the ability to finance, design, and construct, operate, maintain, and expand transportation facilities. Highways, we can be involved in the development of highways, which is either tolled or untolled. Ferries, airports, rail, bikeways, intermodal hubs. We have the authority, obviously, when you relate it to the building of roads, we have the authority to acquire or condemn property for projects, and we also enter into private and public partnerships as well. On page 3 is kind of shows a matrix that actually gets into a little bit more of what RMAs have versus a tech stock authority. And so we see our role as a complement to tech stock. I'm new to Texas. I came in, as I said, I started at the end of June of this year. Prior experience was a regional COG director, Council of Governments director in Mobile, Alabama for over 10 years. So if Texas transportation is like Alabama transportation is, there's no money. I think we all know that. You do what you can with what you have, and TxDOT obviously is a fabulous organization and has done a lot of good things and is always looking for more resources, but there's obviously a limited amount that you can ask the taxpayers to take on. And so therefore, that's where the RMAs obviously came in way back in the 2000s, was the idea that there would be some kind of an entity that could complement what TxDOT is doing. A lot of RNAs, there's actually 8 of them throughout the state. One of the big ones is CTRMA, which is down in Austin, if you've been down there. And CTRMA is in Travis and Wilkinson counties, and they operate the MOPAC and the 283 and all those, they have several of them that they operate. A lot of folks associate RMAs with just the toll authorities, and certainly that is the way that most of the RMAs make their mark, but there are others that are just doing road projects and working on other things like that. So it's certainly not necessarily a requirement that it is a toll authority. But you can see on the top of page 3 there that we have certainly a number of different services that we provide that TxDOT does not have the ability to provide. Very broad ranging abilities that the RMAs have. And so what the Northeast Texas RMA has been doing for the last several years, obviously, has been focusing on the development of Toll 49. And I will give you a little brief overview of how we're doing with that. But I also wanted to be here today to talk about what we call the priority projects, which is something that is really important and is really one of the if you will, it's the importance of why we have so many counties and why those counties are having the opportunity to participate in this organization. Toll 49, as you can see the transactions. So they're at the bottom of page 3. We're a little concerned there in August of this year, 2016, that we had a dip. We think there's a couple, July actually is what that number is. July and August, we've had some dips in the transactions, and we've had some maintenance issues that we're trying to get through, and we've addressed some parts of that. We also think that there have been some press issues about some of the safety issues out there, which we have addressed. We met with the TxDOT officials, the EPS officials, to address some of our signage and our striping issues, and so those are going to be going forward with some improvements. But I assure you that the toll is very heavily used. It's not just around Smith County and Tyler. When you look at the pool of transactions, there are people from everywhere that are using it. East Texas, extreme East Texas, and all the way over in West Texas, or excuse me, in the western part of our region, Kaufman and Van Zandt counties. So it's a popular, certainly a popular transportation facility in and around that area, and we project that it will continue to be that. On page 4, you just see some transaction trends where certain segments have opened up, which obviously increase the volume and increase the demand for the service. I'm going to refer you to page 5, which at the bottom of page 5 is you'll see what we call the East Texas hourglass. In the blue, in the light blue on that map is going to be the toll 49, the existing toll 49, and just above I-20 there in Smith County, as you can see, the orange is the new projected segment 4, which is opening in 2018. To the southeast of Tyler is a green shaded route, and that is going to be what we call segment 6. And when segment 6 is completed, that will make essentially an entire route around Tyler. It will go from one side of I-20 to the other side. And then, as you can see, we have the dotted black lines all the way through up by Gladewater and into Grayson County and up to through Upshur, just south of Gilmore. That's what's known as the East Texas hourglass. And that is many years in the future, but the idea is that parts of Harrison and parts of Gregg and parts of Upshur would we call segments 6, 7, 8, and 9 would complete what's known as the East Texas hourglass. And these are to create essentially alternative transportation facilities in and around those areas. These areas have to become, these segments, as I refer to them, have to become what's known as toll viable if we ever do in fact do some toll activity on those roads. There's been a study on the corridor. The next step would be to do what they call a TNR, which is a traffic and revenue analysis, and that's when you rise to the level of toll if it works, the analysis works. It's a very complicated study, but it's something that's very important when you go to issue bonds. You've got to have the documentation, the analysis to show that it's going to support the revenue is going to support what you're going to undertake. These are really important, obviously, to those parts of our region, and so we continue to work with those counties on these items. And one of the good things that's going to come out of this is that TxDOT is going to widen 271 and make some significant improvements to 271 as it goes into Glade Water, and we're working with them on some things that will go above Glade Water into Gilmer. And so that's regardless of whatever happens on 789, on the future 789, those projects will go forward. Let's talk about, and I'll certainly ask or answer any questions on statement 4, or I mean, excuse me, on 1249. And if you haven't been east on I-20 lately, in and around the Hideaway exit, or the exit to 1249, you'll see they're doing some work, and they're eventually going to have a flyover where 1249 intersects with I-20 right now. There'll be a ramp that will go over I-20, and that will be, continued on north, and that's what's known as segment 4. And so, like I said, that started in July of this year, 2016, and the projection of that is the end of that period, summertime of 2018. So far, so good. Everything seems to be going well. We're not running into any significant delays or anything like that, but we continue to. We have a very good contractor, Weber, and they're doing a great job for us. On the bottom of page 6 is something that essentially why this RMA, why this Regional Mobility Authority was set up the way it was set up, is essentially what we call the net RMA priority projects. And essentially what this is to try to return some of the revenue, surplus revenue that we have off the operation of the toll back to our member counties. As I said, we have 12 counties, and all those counties have transportation projects, transportation needs that are extensive. And there's so much TxDOT can do, there's so much that the local counties can do, the cities, and so we feel our role is to somehow offer a way to facilitate a project or two in a particular county or within several counties. This last year, they awarded a project to Great County for an improvement to a very key corridor of theirs, and it was our funding that went to it, was in the form of about $400,000, and it was essentially to advance that project. And that's essentially what we see the priority projects is all about. Is the project is certainly shovel ready. It's standalone, but it needs some kind of extra leveraging, and that's where the net RMA's priority projects have come in. And I know with y'all, and I've met with Judge Wood and had the pleasure to come and meet, I think back in July, wasn't it, I believe. They met with the folks from the RTC over in Dallas, the North Texas Regional Council of Governments Transportation Group. There's a ton of needs, obviously, in Kaufman County, and I think that I keep, every time I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of the counties in our jurisdiction, I always talk about the real progress that y'all are making, and, based on the fact that you got a great plan. We've hired some good folks to work on that, and a lot of what we can do is essentially help out, when those times come, and it's going to make it a lot easier because you have something already in place. You have the ability to, we need help on this one. And so what we've tried to do is serve as an entity to help fund. Like I said, to leverage projects so that you can get to another level on a project. On the page 7, you have a evaluation matrix that what we look for in those projects, and there's a committee that is set up. It's our long-range planning committee, and we have a timeline there at the bottom of it, but you can see what the projects, how they get evaluated. Obviously, is it a project a transportation project? Does the project have regional significance? Does the project have local political support? Does the project have local financial support? Will the project likely get state or federal financial support? Will the project provide economic development? Will the project produce revenue? And what stage of development is the project in? I think that's the final one there is really one of the important questions, because you don't want to obviously get projects that are 10 years in the making, 5 years in the making. If we've got some projects that are ready to go, and, you know, within a couple of years, or our infusion of money helps get that project to the next level, that's what we're looking at. And so these are, there are funds budgeted for the next fiscal year for us to do this, and what the board members are committed to do is to look at this every year and to try to set aside a significant portion of funds so that we can be in a position to help our counties out. Now, obviously, when you think of it, we've got 12 counties, it's a competitive process. And one of the things that the committee is doing, the long-range planning committee is doing, is trying to reevaluate how they do this so that they might be looking at significant corridors or rail projects or projects that might deal with emergency management or projects that are going to fall into a safety category. I think we had that conversation about US 80. You know, if you start talking about US 80 improvements, you're talking about the entire part of our region. You're talking, it goes all the way from the Louisiana line all the way back into Dallas. So it's going to touch on most all of our communities in some way. So that's where we're at with those projects, and it's an opportunity for us to work closely with the TxDOT officials, but also work closely with the county officials as well. And so what will happen is, as you can see, according to our timeline, we'll start reaching out to all the counties through senators and judges, and we'll start working with all the local officials in terms of their projects. I'll answer any questions. I know I've kind of blasted through a lot of information. And I think that another important fact is I'm the first permanent executive director. Prior to this, we had an interim executive director who was a consultant, and so I'm here. And I'm always available to meet, always available to come to a meeting with the judge or with anybody that has any questions. And you can always ask Robert questions. He'll get you some answers.
Anybody have any questions?
Little, I guess I don't understand, keep talking about this money that y'all are going to help with. Where does this money come from? Is that public money, private money? I know on toll roads, I guess y'all have people that finance those other companies or whatever.
Well, the way the obviously the way a toll works is that you do these analyses and then you go to the bond market. And so who is that? Who sells that bond and who is that bond paid to? Y'all? Okay. But y'all have to have cooperation with counties that road, that particular road is going. We have coordination with TxDOT, coordination with the counties. So in the case of Smith County, and like I said, I'm new in the sense they've been planning Toll 49. It was called Loop 49. It goes back to like the mid '80s, I believe, when they started working on it. And so they started working on it, and then what ended up happening is when the NetRMA got organized in the early 2000s, based on this legislation, they started working with TxDOT to build certain segments. TxDOT came in, built certain segments, almost in the form of like a loan. The organization was the authority that was operating everything. TxDOT built it, did it on a loan, came in, forgave the loan, and determined that it was more of a grant, and so that allowed the NetRMA to go on for certain other segments, especially segment 4, which is right now. And so they went to the bond market in May, and it's funding the segment 4. So what these priority projects that you referred to, what the organization did, the board of directors did several years ago was make the determination that they wanted to take certain surplus revenue after you pay your bonds, after you deal with your operating expenses, after you deal with whatever personal.
Talking about total revenue.
Yes, sir. And turn it back to the rest of the region. It's permissible. It's something that
You
you
fund the next project, basically.
Well,
Or you have to
it's
start the funding.
to fund these types of projects in the county, not to fund a toll. These are non-toll projects.
Right.
But it's to fund those kind of things. It's to be a resource, if you will. The goal of our board, the goal of the NRMA is to be a resource in the sense of providing financial support, but also in the sense of providing advocacy, being at the table to help advocate for projects and
Like our project, yeah, on the bond.
Yes.
So how can y'all help us expedite all the projects that we so bond?
I know that last year, I think that y'all did apply for a priority project. I can't remember the exact one. Judge, you may.
Yeah, it was on the Interstate 20, Highway 34 project. They are trying to improve the access to 25 to 78, right?
And so it was for a certain amount of money. We were going to be a, contributing partner in that. There were 8 projects submitted throughout our region, and the project went to Gregg County, competitive process. And so, what will happen is hopefully you all will submit again, and that process will read out, and who will get it, and y'all will get some funding from us. But I do say this, that there is a desire, I believe, to try to figure out not just to do a one-time annual award, because if you do that, and if you just said, okay, this county's gonna get it here, we're talking 11 years or so before somebody gets a project. And so we don't want that. We want to look at projects in a different way.
Not sure what that is.
Airway?
Yeah.
That alarm we do with
So, and I think you worked with John Holzer on our government, actually before you got here.
Right.
So, would it be possible for you, and I should have already asked you to do this, to send us a copy of your agenda for your meetings?
Yes.
And you can just send them to my office, and we'll distribute them to the commissioners and anybody else that wants them. So we can kind of just see what's going on. Right now, I don't think we get those. I know Robert represents as well.
Right.
But that I'd be helpful, just kind of see what all you guys are doing.
And I do say this with all sincerity, of all the county, and I'm not trying to, speak ill of any other county, but most of the counties that I deal with, are way ahead of the game with the plan. And that is a really significant characteristic, I guess, if you will, for how we ought to be able to look at these projects. And I always talk about that. And Commissioner Jeff Austin, who's the textile commissioner, and I had that conversation with him. That's the county ought to be looking at in terms of how, that's ought to be trying to come up with some things. And so he's aware of those things, and obviously, and so, I think our board, by having me come and meet with the counties, and what I'm committing myself to do is, we got September for y'all, and I'll be in another county next month, and then in November, another county, so I can get in front of the commissioner's court and just familiarize everybody with the NRMA.
I got one other question on your map there. You have the bargaining line that says TxDOT district boundary.
Yes.
So all of these counties are in the same district. Then you have the yellow line that says district divided. Is that y'all's district divided?
No, this would be, okay, here's the, y'all are in this district, you're in, Mesquite. Smith County, or the Tyler district goes,
Yeah, everything east of that line is.
Right.
Tyler district.
and that's actually a poor representation, that should have probably gone up here, like that.
So is that a TxDOT thing, that yellow line, or is that?
Yes.
Something to do with net organization?
No, that's a text dot, so everything east of the yellow line, and it actually should go up here. I need to have that corrected, because Atlanta district is all basically here. Titus is in Atlanta, Camp, Morris. The blue shaded are all of our counties, and then you have a couple counties down below, Anderson, Henderson, Nacogdoches, and Shelby that are not in. And at one time, Camp and Cass were in our jurisdiction, they backed out.
They were members, but they're
Yes.
still in the same district.
They're in the same text dot district, and so we don't control how text dot,
Sure.
you know,
But I mean, that was my question, if that yellow line was something to do with that RMA or if
No.
that text dot.
it's a text dot. I'm sorry, can you see it?
So, county, we're the only county outside of the text dot district that is a good right now.
Oh, no, y'all were, the text dot district, we inherited that. So we work with the text dot districts. Whether the text dot district was up here and included you, we would be working on your behalf, working with text dot. And so I met with all the engineers, I've not had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Selman, and I'm gonna do that.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because Kaufman County has been, in the Dallas district for a long
Yes,
time.
right.
And I don't know if you're aware, up until last year, we had the worst pavement scores in the state of Texas. Because we are part of the Dallas district, all the money's been going to high fives and HOV lanes.
Right.
Now, that's changed lately. I mean, we got good progress going on there.
Right.
So, my question is, are we gonna be a stepchild of net RMA like we were a stepchild of Texas? Because we're outside of that district, we're still in the Dallas district.
No,
Good.
that's my answer. As long as I'm the executive director, as long as you have Robert Messer on this board, I don't think you're gonna be a stepchild. Because Robert is very active, and he makes it known what the issues of Kaufman County are, at every meeting, and, we have conversations about long-range planning and things like that. So he's a very good representative, and I understand. I think that meeting with Judge Wood when I first came, and he met with Ms. Thomas, who is our chair, she understands it. I think this one right here, US 80 is the thing that is the key to so much.
Tired. Yeah.
Because and I think we all talked about I-20, that I-20 is going to be expanded at some point, but they can't overlook 80, because it touches so many communities. But I appreciate that, and I do say that, because you won't be a stepchild for us.
Great.
But I can't,
We've done our homework, we've spent our money, as soon as we stepped up, voted, spend the money. So hopefully y'all can help us with this.
I think you have a good relationship with the RTC folks.
Yes, we do, and we'll make sure you get a copy of our, the court have formally approved, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess now, our formal, transportation plan, the study, we did thoroughfare plan for the entire county, plus we studied the USA as well. So it went from the Dallas County line to, the Van Zandt County line. Now, that being said, all of it was so much development between, Terrell and Forney on 80 that where a lot of the time was spent, but, we'll make sure that you guys get a copy of that. And, those are now being bound, and, we'll make sure we get that. But we, as Commissioner Bobby said, we appreciate any help anybody can give us, and, we were a little disappointed, that we didn't get funded, a little bit this time, but it sounds like that a plan is in place to make that process maybe a little more, transparent or
Yes,
whatever.
yes. And I think that the one last final thing I would say is that, the focus for this organization has been several years trying to get the toll. And the toll now is in a place where we're in the payment for, and then we'll start, we can do more. And so now it's a transition to a permanent executive director getting out, selling the idea that there's other ways of helping out. And that's my job. So that's what I intend to keep doing. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. All righty. Next is item number 8, and that is to discuss and consider approving Mark Edwards as resurfacing the southern part of County Road 257 and closing off the northern access route for approximately 9 months. Mark, thanks for
This is not Mark. This
Oh,
is
this is not
Mark.
Okay.
Mark has two.
Oh, okay.
Kaufman. His name is Mark.
I am Michael Dowdy, for Dowdy Anderson Associates, 5225 Village Street Drive, Plano, Texas. 75130. We're the engineer that works with Kaufman and Mr. Adrian. We do all their design, and all for this project, we do all the residential design, so we also do the district services. We're talking about today, if you recall, a year ago plus, we abandoned the northern portion of 257, relocated, temporary relocation over to the existing Sunnybrook concrete. That's been working well. This white sheet shows the proposed next phase of development. We submitted those construction plans. It's called phase 8, 200, and there's also a small phase 7A, ends up being about 299 residential lots. Crandall ISD is also just started construction right in the middle of that. So we want to break ground on our portion in the end of October for excavation. So that requires us to reconsider a relocation of this temporary northern part, and that's what we're here to discuss today. One option was to relocate it to the east a little bit, go about a half mile up to the existing concrete that's at Hometown and Kissimmee. And this color exhibit shows you kind of the big picture. The other thing we discussed, and Mr. Allen discussed it with Mark last week, was potential 9-month closure of the temporary northern piece. Doing that, we would rebuild the existing 257 down to 2757. About the southern half, I drove it this morning, southern half is fairly rough, single lane, it's drivable right now.
Dry weather is drivable, one way, you can't
Yeah,
drop
there's a sign that says when it's wet,
dirt,
don't
or
go.
most summer off.
So we would, I think that's where the significant improvement is.
What kind of road are y'all gonna make that?
We did gravel on the, nice tight gravel on the temporary portion, it's holding up pretty well. It had a little bit of maintenance, it had heavy equipment out there when we built the previous, but it's held up pretty well, I drove it on today.
Yeah, they built that part up, we closed down the northern part, and there's about 10, 12 inches of flash rock in there. And they maintain it, and from time to time, we've got to go over the flake to smooth it a little bit. Had to put in some covers.
Yes.
They took care of all that, we didn't have to pay out any money. And they requested that apartment have to be a minimum of 18 foot wide. And I believe we figured it's, almost 1,600 tons of rock is about what it would take to get from near school. In fact, 2 families only live on that road, but it would give them, access for emergency vehicles.
All weather.
In all weather, yes. It benefits the county.
Get a much better situation than what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
we
would be
can't, we
improved.
just, when it even sprinkles, you can't go down the road. No, Keith's been on it.
Steve has their, it's our metering station, but they have rights to go see it. They can read it without going there. It's down on that same road too. So,
Any other questions or comments? Have a motion to approve.
I make the motion.
Second. Have a motion from Commissioner Allen, second from Commissioner Blunt. Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
And I'll give you later when it's out.
thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, as we mentioned earlier, has been removed at the request of Judge Smith. So we'll move into item number 10, and this is to discuss and consider approving the fee increase from $10 to $25 for the on-site sewage facility maintenance contract annual renewal fees effective October 1st, 2016. This was an item we had discussed back there in our budget session, and I believe Rick here and kind of briefly give us an update and look at this.
Mark, Commissioner. Yes, you said we have discussed this several times, it brought my attention, I should go ahead and review this, because I did another study, and the $25 would put us actually below that line north for the surrounding counties, but still that would be, I wouldn't want to go up too much at one time. And also as a secondary proposal on this, I would like to allow ample time for the contractors to provide this information, get their customers, so to speak. Several of them have contracts several months in advance. We ran into this issue when we first implemented the $10 proposal in October, and we ended up extending it to January 1, which met all their needs. And I would propose that as well. I think this is pretty.
Yeah, we visited that Friday.
Okay.
We'll be fair, treat the guys like this. They're sending contracts out already, so then the provider has to do that. Something doesn't get it. I like to defer it until January 1.
And this is, instead of funding, part of it probably the tax money, this would be funding fees that would cover for this. Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion to approve this item.
Make a motion.
Have a motion from Commissioner Allen, do I have a second? Commissioner Phillips seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you very much. All right, item number 11 is to discuss and consider paying invoice number 58/57/7 to Kaufman Auto Glass and Tint for $175 out of the state asset forfeiture account. And this is, I think you've done this once time before, I think, or a couple times before.
Yeah, so, the reason y'all are saying that once again, because it's kind of a lame duck deal with the sheriff, we have to do this by law on chapter 59, so we have to run everything. This is longer where we pay our tinted glass out of our asset forfeiture for our cost.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Commissioner Phillips makes that motion. Commissioner James seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. 12 is to discuss and consider approving amendment number 1 to the health services agreement with Southern Health Partners Incorporated, doing business as SHP Vista Health Management Incorporated for inmate medical care.
My septic system.
That's around the road, not the parking lot.
All right. Brian, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Well, this is an existing contract that we're in right now. The one amendment subject changing that we talked about in our budget hearing is they're gonna take up the mental health and we give up the position. Also, Dr. Davis processed the amendment of normal routine business, but it does have that in there where they're taking over the mental health, which is the contract that we did also move it up, I think, 10%, I think, which is normal in this contract.
So then, instead of going back to the employee, you'll eliminate that position.
That is correct, and then they'll take up the mental health, which is also, I think it's 6 hours a day, something I can't remember, offhand, they're gonna take that over.
Karen, is this gonna save us money or cost us money?
It's about a wash, it's pretty close to a wash, there might be two.
Just be one entity.
Yes, instead of us having an employee. And I think it'll be streamlined and a little bit better for us, and the reason why, we don't have our doctor talking with this contract, and it's all one contract, and I think it'll be a lot easier for us in the long run. consider this move. Because we got plenty of mental health, and everybody knows that.
Okay. All right, we already have a motion on the floor from Commissioner James and a second from Commissioner Allen. Any other discussion?
Who did it first?
Commissioner Shane. Commissioner Allen seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, thank you very much. Next item is Yasmin Holland to present a special projects grant in the amount of $31,768 from the Texas State Library and Archives Commission through the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. What prompted me to write this grant is when we see like the Dollar Tree and Walmart and Buc-ee's and different industries that come into the county, and people come into the library to apply for these jobs. Right now we have 6 public computers available for free for people to come in and use the computers. And we needed more because that job, filling out those applications, creating those resumes, the testing that some of those applications require, we allow them an hour, but they need more, so we need more computers for that. So thus I wrote this grant to enhance the job seeking experience at the library, to make it a one-stop shop where you can come in, apply for the job, if you need to fax, scan resumes, or anything pertaining to that process, that you're able to do it all there, and when you leave, your process is complete. Except for maybe coming back in and checking your email on the updates. This grant is through the Texas State Library, funded through the Institute of Museum and Library Services. It is for $31,768. The minimum that the grant requires us to do is 10 workstations, 5 laptops, a copier that scans, faxes, copies, wireless printing for the patrons as well. Another initiative of the grant is, after everything is in place, is to actually teach job searching classes, basic computer skills, creating resumes, at least 2 months. So hopefully in the spring, after everything is set up, we'll be able to do that. I'm asking the court to just to review that and accept it. It is a reimbursement grant. If we can't do that, I think there's some stipulations where we can go in and get the money up front, or probably auditors will just do that. Questions?
Anybody have any questions? Thanks for going after the grant.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Yasmin?
Funding won't be any trouble here.
No, that's what she's saying. It's required to submit the receipts and then they reimburse us.
We funded, they could bring.
We'll just create a line item for that grant report.
Yeah.
There's a portal for, it's probably the KW that we're using, KW to access as well as.
Okay. Have a motion from Commissioner Allen to approve the grant. And I have a second. Commissioner Raleigh seconds motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. Thank you very much, Yasmin, for working on that. Next is item number 14, Lisa Callahan, our purchasing agent, to discuss and consider allowing facilities to recycle materials removed during renovation at the South Campus in accordance with local government code 2631521C. Disposal, parentheses 3, may be accomplished through a recycling program under which property is collected, separated, or processed and returned to use in the form of raw materials in the production of new products. That's a mouthful.
Sorry, that's a little wordy, but since that's not actually what they're going to take to be recycled, it's not necessarily an inventoriable type item. It's just the piping and things that come from those pipe chases. I think y'all are aware of all the renovations that they're doing out there. They have a significant amount of that, and they feel like it would probably be more beneficial to take it to recycling and possibly get paid for it that way as trying to put it in the auction.
number 15 is to discuss, consider changing personnel handbook, page 16 of 86, regarding the rehire of former employees, specifically the rehire of retired employees as follows. Section A, the retiree has been retired for at least 6 calendar months, changed to retiree has been retired for at least 30 calendar days.
We talked about this before, and it should be on page 12, 68.
Yeah.
Little typo there.
Okay.
And I would like to also add to that, we can do that, that this would be part-time seasonal work only, not a full-time position. Can I do that?
Make a motion.
Well, he's talking about proper notice, because we're kind of, that's what why he looked over at me. I think so, because what we're doing is we've given everybody knows that we're talking about changing the handbook. And I haven't got that with me. Does it delineate seasonal work, or does it just say, we hire, yeah, I think we're fine as far as notice. Excuse me. Oh, perfect.
Instead of the 30 calendar days, I would suggest it being the one full calendar month. The retirement.
Instead of days, it's month.
Instead of days, it has to be one full calendar month.
That's what the retirement system.
That's the
Yeah.
retirement.
Okay.
And so it would track the same language.
One calendar month.
And then where he's asking about retirement, is this, what Commissioner was asking is that it wouldn't be full-time, but that it would be some kind of less than
I don't think it, you know, that much.
Is this out of tack already? Or is
Yeah, this is that on policy. This is from the retirement, it didn't say anything about
Let me answer your first question. It's fine, it's fine as far as notice. Okay, that's fine. So now the second question is really y'all's discussion. If you want to limit it some other way. And so what I was just asking was what the policy was that she wanted to track with language. And it doesn't have, as you're saying, as it says.
So for the language, it's one of the conditions for TCRS, this is TCRS, from TCRS. So according to them, you're not fully separated unless you're separated from the county for at least one full calendar month. You can't be contributing, or you can't be withdrawing.
I just don't want to let this become something where someone could retire, be gone 30 days and get their old job right back.
Right, but
You know,
I don't know, and I don't know this, I don't know if they're able to continue to get their retirement check if they come back. I don't know that.
They can
Yes.
unless it's sooner than that one full calendar month.
right, but I want to make sure we can still do it for part-time or seasonal or.
I understand what you're doing. You just want people to kind of do a link deal and.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
a bona fide separation.
Okay.
But I think Commissioner Allen is saying is that with 6 months, you know you really have a bona fide separation. So he wants some other language perhaps, so that he can ensure that it is a bona fide separation, if not the month, plus something else.
And I know they can't come back to full-time, we've got that stuff, it's part-time or seasonal,
Right.
not just say not full-time.
You see what he's saying?
Yeah.
So we've got that already in there, I think. What?
Yeah, that's our current policy.
Okay.
Six months.
I don't like the 6 months though. I don't like the 6 months. We can't hear y'all. We can't hear y'all. You said we can't.
I just asked you, the question, why did we stay with the 6 full months, is what I asked you.
I think that comes from TCRS. We actually put in a call to TCRS and they suggested us not to change the 6 months. So that just goes in line with the bona fide separation.
And my reason for doing this, I was telling Commissioner Shane, you had a man retire back in early part of the year. Then we lose a motor operator. He's been retired now 4 months, but I can't hire him back even. I need someone that's qualified, certified, and therefore work doesn't get done. But if I had it this, or it would be full-time, we can hire him 1 or 2 days a week to help us keep up. Working is a specialized time. I mean, not just anyone can do that.
And that's what TCRS did tell us. I looked into Rockwall County, yes, have a monthly calendar month. Their policy is much as a calendar month.
Yeah, we can't,
Rock-
yeah, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So,
Some of us can't hear you.
so I did look into Rockwall County's policy, and their policy does, they have it under the one full calendar month. But I talked to TCRS this morning, and they suggested we keep it at the 6 month.
But it's not violating a rule.
It's not violating a rule.
If we choose not to do, as long as we do one full calendar.
Right.
And
Our retirement system.
That's the county, Texas County District Retirement System.
But we're not hiring back full time, so we're not gonna be double dipping.
And we could do any number in between, we could do 90 days.
Right.
Yeah.
We could do something to make it more bona fide, 30
3 months.
or 3 months, just so, that's what you.
do 3 calendar months is fine.
You're still subject to our retirement.
Did that, they said, well, they're gonna retire
If you
before.
keep that part-time, they're still subject
Yes.
to our retirement system, so it is going to get back into the retirement system.
Only, but
Effective.
if he only works,
He has to work under 30 hours.
Yeah,
I mean,
29.
yeah, just, I'm talking about just part-time.
Right, but I think Karen's pointed out the abuse that can happen, and the person can start accruing retirement time those months if they hit the 30.
That's the reason I want to put stipulating that part-time, it's not full-time work.
So what's your suggested language? Looking at your page.
Well, look at my page at the end, I just wanted to add,
Let me get the book back.
if we want to go to 3 calendar months, that's okay with me. I don't have an issue with that. 6 months is just, something happens like it, it's too long.
Right.
I don't mind 3 months, retirees have been gone that long. For part-time, seasonal work, not full-time.
Okay.
Must be RSA, must be under 30 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
And that will keep them from going back into the
I don't even
retirement.
think the state even goes that long, the state itself.
So,
I've got a neighbor that returned from the state, 90 days, they got some jobs back, and they're taking their retirement.
I think teacher retirement has to be out a year. I think teacher retirement has to be out a year.
Yeah.
Is it
But
year?
they don't get in the state for some reason, and I went across the, what's the highway.
so,
I don't know.
what do you think, sound, I mean, plausible?
It sounds plausible to you. I haven't looked into the issue, so I don't know. I know that you have, because you understand what the requirements are, that we're not in violation as long as we have the 1 month, and you're actually trying to have it meet a need. I do like the qualification to have it under the 30 hours, so that, I mean, that's something that the auditor's concerned about, because then we're spending money in the retirement system.
Right.
Is that right?
It's affecting our unfunded liability.
Okay.
It would.
Must be under 30 hours.
Yeah, may I suggest maybe that we've got 2 or 3 other items on the agenda for Monday, that maybe we table this for today and then come back and make sure we have the correct wording and everything. Would that be better?
Certainly.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, it'll be a week then, and so Tiffany, if you'll get with Commissioner Allen and the DA's office to make sure we do that. So I have a motion to table, and we'll have it on the agenda. For next Monday, the 19th. Have a motion?
I do.
Motion from Commissioner Allen, to table till we work out the fine details on this. And they have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Phillips seconds the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right, the next item is, an item to, discuss and consider a resolution regarding opposition to unfunded mandates at the, recent, I missed one. You get to talk, I get to look.
Disagree.
This was a resolution that has been sent out by TAC, urging Commissioners Court to consider passing this. And it's simply just saying that we oppose any unfunded state mandates, because our legislature and federal Congress as well, has a habit of, maybe unintended, but passing legislation that may not be bad, they just don't give us the money to do it with. And so this would be a resolution that would oppose this. And I can tell you just from my meeting that I attended, this is going to be probably one of the very top items that the Texas Association of Counties and the county judges and commissioners will be opposing this next year, is making sure any legislation that's passed doesn't have they pay for it. Karen?
Judge Wood, TAC sent me a survey to ask me to participate in unfunded mandated stuff. And it's got a 30-page, pretty lengthy survey, and I had to print lots of reports about that thick to come up with the numbers that they needed to know. And it was kind of complex, and it was enlightening of what we're required to pay out that's mandated to us like that.
That's what they say, that they did raise tax.
Yeah, but, yeah, on their end.
I assume there'll be some hearings.
I'm sure there will be, yeah. I think we need to be, and we'll also send copies to our senator and our state representative, which we've already talked with. I know I talked with Senator Hall some about it, and we just need to keep it at the forefront, so. Have a motion to approve?
And I think we also need to send it to the feds.
Yeah, okay. Motion from Commissioner Shane, I think that's a good idea. And we have a second from Commissioner Phillips. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right, thank you very much. Next item is to discuss and consider approving an electronic recording memorandum of understanding between E-Recording Partners Network LLC and Kaufman County Clerk's Office for electronic recording of real property documents.
This is the same contract that we've used with our two other recording partners, and Rebecca has looked at it. Like I said, it's identical to the other ones that we started probably back in 2003 or 2004. And I just ask that the commissioners will approve this contract so they can become a submitter document.
Motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Allen, second from Commissioner Shane. Any other discussion? Anybody have any questions? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. All right, the next item is to discuss and consider applying for a 2017 Texas Community Development Block Grant through the Texas Department of Agriculture, and for $275,000. And Pam has been working on this, and we have an opportunity as a county now to apply. And I'll let Pam explain what this is.
In the past, this grant has been mainly open to water supply companies doing water improvements. So we sponsored Elmo in the past, we're sponsoring Able Springs right now. Last year, communities were allowed to apply for funding for road improvement and drainage. And so this is the first time that we will be able to apply as a county. It is based on low income. The city of Rosser had certain streets that qualify. They are starting progress on our streets, getting them done. Kemp and Scurry, I believe, also will have street improvements done with some of their funding that they got. It's a $275,000 grant with an in-kind match from the county of $13,750. If the county were to apply, we would want to procure the services of a grant company, GrantWorks, and this is a very in-depth and detailed grant, and they're the ones that handle ours and some of the others. Then we would also need to procure an engineer. Now, they would do the application, and the engineer would do the budget. It would not cost us anything except for the ads that we have to run in the paper if we are not funded. If we are funded, then it would be 11% would be for the administration cost. And then if you do drainage, you have to have an engineer. If you only do streets, then you as commissioners, you could do the work yourself, or we could put the job out for bid. And if we do drainage, we will have to have an engineer to come in and look at that. And so
$275,000 was for the administration and engineering services.
$275,000 would be the award, and then the administration cost would be about 11%. That's gonna run probably about $30,000. And if you choose to do drainage, then you have to have an engineer, and that would be up to 12%. There's a percentage up to that can apply. And then, of course, our $13,750 match that the county would have to come up with. So if we didn't do drainage, and we just had the administration and the match, we would be getting about $231,000 worth of road work done for that $13,750 in kind match.
Were we able to determine if the grant would just allow us to buy the materials?
It will.
And the commissioners can use their equipment to, supply.
I just heard this morning. No, you could do the work. You could do the work and everything.
That's what they do.
Yes. Or you could hire someone to do the work for you.
And when we do that, when we ask for that grant, we have to turn in the projects we're going to do it.
We do. And so we first step is to procure the engineer, or the engineer and the company to help us. And then after that, they'll do an evaluation, and they'll see where the low income areas would be. If it was all in precinct 4, or if it was only in precinct 2, and then those areas would be the only areas that would be able to be done. So it's about low to moderate income communities or roadways.
That's what the grant works will do. They'll go through, work with the Department of Community Affairs, whatever the name of it is. And they will go to the census statement, the census block, and determine where those areas are in the county.
They go door to door also in
So
our
it means a
community.
little area.
We do that first, and then we determine that we can do a road or something in that area.
And it's what we understand. And, but it does, it's out, rolls outside, and it doesn't include a municipality.
No.
Municipalities have to apply for their own. But this is fairly new, I think.
It is. This is the first.
Kind of like that.
Any questions?
We have to pay, I mean, it's gonna cost us $13,000 to $15,000 or something.
If we receive it.
If we receive it, if we don't receive it, it doesn't cost us
It costs us the cost of 2 ads to go in the paper.
two hands.
Because you have to have a public hearing and the intent to apply ad.
I'll make the motion to do it.
We have a motion from
We
Commissioner Allen.
make the motion just like on this.
Yeah, I gave you a handout.
Yes.
It's specifically worded, nor I think I gave you a copy, okay?
You have that? I'll make this one.
Yes, sir. Go on.
You don't read it, go ahead and read it. They may come back and look at the video and make sure that it.
I make the motion to authorize procurement of professional administration and engineering services to prepare an application on behalf of Kaufman County for $275,000 to be submitted to the 2017-18 Community Development Block Grant Program Competition.
We have a motion from Commissioner Allen, do we have a second?
Second, that.
Commissioner Phillips seconds the motion. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. Okay, the next item is, we'll be going into executive session. Before we do that, Karen, I know wanted to present some information. Are you going to be prepared to do that?
Oh, in executive?
Yes.
I know what she wants to present. She had car trouble. I think she's on her way.
Okay.
I don't know if there's something. Do you
Well,
want to take care of, do you want to
I
do
thought
some
we
other
just take
business?
a break right now.
I think so.
And then if she's not here, we can come back and do the
Absolutely.
papers.
Right.
So
And
we'll take a break and then we'll come back and if she's not here, we'll finish the
That's
list.
perfect. And she's on her way. I just think it'd be a more complete. She did it, but she was actually there and, got worried. We'll see. She'll be on her way. She's here. She's here. If you want to go into executive, she'll be here in
Okay.
3 minutes.
Well, we can do that, or we can go ahead and while waiting till she walks in, there's a couple of things we may be able to go ahead and do before we go in and see.
Your pleasure, Jeff.
Okay. Karen, if you'd like to go over those.
Sure. Anybody have any specific questions they want to ask on these line item transfers?
I had one,
Yes, sir.
highway patrol, more than $1,600 a chair.
Well, it was quite a bit more than that.
Oh.
And, they were buying 12 chairs, and I said, why do the 2 secretaries need 12 chairs? So they came off that.
Two.
The 2 chairs were 4 originally. I mean, wait, we got them down to. Yeah.
So we got 4 chairs for 2 secretaries.
Right. So,
$400 a chair.
I don't remember. Lisa, do you remember the chairs, the number of chairs exactly?
4. They
Four.
ordered, they tried to order 12 and we kicked it back and they ended up ordering 4.
Went through a little spiel, and they said that they went ahead and ordered them. And Lisa got the invoice and brought it to me, and I said, I ain't paying it. They didn't follow the procedures. And they.
Well, it wasn't actually invoiced at that time, that was the Furman's,
Yeah, it was $3,000.
approval. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lisa sent an email to prove to them that the same lady that ordered these had filled out purchase orders, and I said, we're not buying 14 or 12 chairs, and we only have 2 secretaries, so we agreed to the 4, so we didn't have any yes. Undoubtedly, they didn't know that we had transferred money out of that office furniture into communications, and they asked for the direct TV, the officers did. So we have done that.
Any other
Did
questions?
that answer your question, though? Okay.
Any other questions on line item transfers? Not, I entertain a motion to approve as listed. Motion from Commissioner Allen, do I have a second? Second. Commissioner Phillips, seconds, motion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Then the next item, before we go into the executive session, will be the claims for payment. Do you have, well, Karen can give you the information.
All right, I'm glad y'all are sitting down because I don't want you to panic. The bills this time, claims for payment, are $3,142,211.84. $1,898,000 is of your road bond. So your real bills are not that much. So I just thought I better tell you up front. Your employee insurance is for $488, and then the miscellaneous to various accounts was $310. That was pretty close to what that was made up of, which I think you've got a copy of that, so you can look at it. Anybody have any specific questions on any of the bills?
No, that's just like that.
That was one name on page 15 of Greg's appendix that I had.
It's a big packet, sir.
And, the bills for each city. I don't know what that name is.
That was for the tax office lightings, the fixtures, what was previously signed off on.
Still recognize it?
Yeah.
Other questions? May I have a motion to approve the bills? Commissioner Sanders makes a motion, do I have a second? Commissioner Allen seconds, motion, all in favor say aye. Those opposed. All righty, we'll go back up now to item number 19, and we'll do a motion to enter into executive session. So I have a motion to do that. Commissioner Allen makes that motion, and Commissioner Phillips seconds, and please note that the time is 10:45. And all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. And the purpose of the executive session is pursuant to Government Code 551071, consultation with the attorney regarding pending or contemplating litigation, and they are a settlement regarding litigation between Kaufman County and Bobby Canfield. So we're to that point, and executive session on a motion made by Commissioner Allen and a second made by Commissioner Phillips. And the time was 11:05 a.m. All right, item number 19, and we all have a unanimous vote to exit. So now item number 22 is to discuss and consider taking any action needed as a result of the executive session.
I make a motion that we allow our DA to execute a chapter 11 agreement with. Rule with Bobby Payne.
We have a motion from Commissioner Shane to allow authorize the district attorney's office to exercise Rule 11, consider this issue. Do I have a second? Commissioner Allen seconds. Do you have any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right, we've already conducted item number 23 and number 24. Do I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting? We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips and a second from Commissioner Rivali. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. We'll take another quick break and then we'll have a session here on our budget workshop down at the table. So